Hello, welcome to ATech Reviews. Today's video, folks, I'm going to be doing a comparison of 9 budget IEMs that you see in front of you. I wanted to make it 10, but really these are the only IEMs I have under 50 bucks. So before I start, I just want you to know, like, these IEMs are just my choices. These are things I bought. So I obviously don't have every IEM that's under $50. Another thing is that this video is going to be my personal opinion about them, my impressions, and which ones I found best and why. But keep in mind, like, it's just a personal opinion, subjective kind of thing. And even when I try to talk about things that could be objective, like technicalities or stuff, still I'm human and it's a subjective opinion no matter what I say. So with that, let's start. Now, before I begin, I just want to show, like, if anyone is beginning, is a beginner in this hobby, and they want to, like, have a combo of, like, a deck amp and an IEM, both of them, like, you know, under a budget, $50. Like, I think this dongle is great. Like, I bought this, I love it. It has very good sound quality. Like, I think it outputs more than 200 milliwatts at 16 ohms, something like that. Doesn't cost a lot, I think $25 to $30. And it's really all the power you need. It gets a bit warm, but that's it. Sound quality is excellent. And it's only single-ended, and as you can see, most of these IEMs that come at this price range are going to be obviously single-ended. So this one is like an upgraded Apple dongle with more power and clarity. I highly recommend it. Now, with that out of the way, let's start. I will start from 9 and then we go to number 1. Let me begin with the Moondrop Quarks. Now, this is one of those situations where this IEM, I think, costs $9 or $12, and I don't recommend it. Why is that? Very good question. Let's look at the curve. If you look at the curve, you'll find, like, base is almost flat. When we go to the 3K region, like, you'll find, like, it has a huge peak, and this obviously makes the IEM very harsh when you listen to it. It doesn't take any volume. The moment you raise the volume because you want to hear more bass or something, you don't perceive that. You find that it gets shouty easily with the easiest provocation, and the treble is not smooth. It doesn't have that much detail. Like, in this decision, honestly, like, it's one of those things that you should not, you know, it's better if you don't buy it. Like, save the money and maybe get something, even from Moondrop, like the Chu or something. It's much better. So this is one IEM that I obviously cannot recommend. And number 2, another IEM on our list, is this one is the Tanchjim 0. Now, this IEM also I cannot recommend. I think it's competing with the Quarks, something like that. Both of them don't have any removable cable. And, like, I bought it, like, thought maybe it's something good. Maybe I will be able to give it as a gift. Or, like, I'm interested in the budget world. What have IEMs in this area achieved? And you'll see later when I reach number 1, you'll see, like, how, like, in 1 or 2 years, the industry has changed. You know, like, we now have options that, oh my gosh, I can't believe it at this price. But anyway, you look at the curve and you'll see, like, the bass is even worse than the Quarks. Very flat line. You're missing a lot of frequencies here. Like, this is a huge sub-bass and mid-bass roll-off, and instead of 3K peak, you have, like, a huge upper mid-range and lower treble peak that makes a lot of sounds harsh and not natural. Just the timbre is just off in this IEM. This is another one that I don't recommend. That's just my opinion. Now, moving on. Now we start to talk about serious stuff. Like, this is one of the IEMs I'm going to recommend, which is the Tanchjim 1. But I'm going to first talk about the Dolce, which is by Kiwi Ears. This is the Kiwi Ears Dolce. I think it costs $30, $35, $33, something like that. Let's talk about this IEM, actually. Like, it's not a favorite of mine. I will not say I recommend it or don't recommend it. I will describe it to you and you decide. It has a very strong bass response. Like, the bass response is very, very strong. The problem with that is that it bleeds into the mid-range a bit. Like, if you want to know what is the definition of bass bleed, you can listen to this IEM. It still sounds good, though. Although there's a lot of bass bleed, it still sounds good. But the problem here is to make the mid-range clear with all that bass bleed and all that warmth is that you obviously need to raise the mid-range a bit so that sounds could be clear. And this is what they did, but obviously, no matter what, even if the bass is there, you can't just balance it. You're going to run into issues. So you find that the mid-range here sounds shouty. easily. Just the slightest provocation, again, it sounds very shouty. Treble is okay, but you get into the sibilants quite a bit. Like just listening to any high frequency sounds or cymbals and hi-hats, you get into a lot of sibilants. And any attempt to EQ it is going to be challenging, to be honest. You need at least like a 6-band EQ to make things quite right. And still, at that price, now we have things that don't need equalization and they still sound great out of the box, and which I'm going to recommend. But this one, the impressive part is the bass. The bass is actually higher quality than many of the IEMs here, with the exception of 2 or 3. It's really powerful. It makes many things sound very warm, very full. But again, the bass overshadows the mids a lot. Like, it's not something I would listen to nowadays. Was good long time ago, but now we have better options. Speaking of better options, let's start with one of my first recommendations. This is the IEMs I'm going to recommend starting from now. Tanchjim 1. Obviously, this is an upgrade to the Zero. First thing you notice is it has a detachable cable. You can take this cable off and on. This IEM actually sounds good. You can wear it actually over your ears, but you should wear the left side on the right side if you're going to do that, and vice versa. Now this sounds really good. It has very good bass, very minimal bass bleed. Upper mid-range sounds excellent. This is an IEM that I personally use. It's a budget, but I personally use for rock and metal, EDM, and those genres that are easily prone to sounding harsh. It's really great. It never sounds harsh or shouty or shrill with metal, with hard rock, with EDM, with J-pop and K-pop. It never does that. Bass, I wish it could be better. But the greatest thing about it, and this is the reason I recommend it for anyone looking for a starter IEM or a great addition to your collection, is that you just add $2 or $3 more and you get a version with a USB-C cable. And what you get now is it has a microphone for taking phone calls and stuff like that, but you also get access to Tanchjim's Android app. It only works on Android. It can work on iPhone, but it needs the Android app for changing the EQ. Now, the app is actually very good. And in contrast to Moondrop's app, which doesn't allow you to do a lot of things like additive EQ, this actually allows you to do a lot of things easily. They have excellent profiles, like ready to go out of the box. And you can even create your custom EQ, increase the bass, lower the bass. You can increase frequencies, unlike the Moondrop app I was talking about. And this is awesome. Like, if it's my advice to anyone beginning in the hobby, I'd say get this, man. Like, it saves you even buying another dongle. Like, if you buy something like the Fiio K11 I'm talking about, you still you have to pay like 25 or 30 bucks for it. So here you're going to save money, and in one package you get it. It's easy to use. You don't need a dongle. You can use it with your PC, your laptop, your phone, and you can change the EQ in it, and it actually sounds really good. It supports 24-bit, and the EQ options, I recommend it because if you're starting or if you want something budget, you will probably want to change things, right? You will want to tweak a few things, listen to different options, learn more about your preferences. What do you like in the sound? So that when you upgrade later and you jump to another IEM higher in price, you know more about yourself. You're going to be more confident in your decision and your choice, and you'll look at the curve and you know what you like during EQ, and at least you can approximately get something will be like a better suited for your taste and preferences. So that's my experience with it. Like, it's really great. And one of the things I love about it is without EQ, it sounds awesome. The only thing I would complain about, not really a complaint, but I wish was more, is the bass. And that's where the app comes in. I actually love it so much that I got another cable for it because I listen to it a lot with other amps and decks and so on without using the USB-C cable. Now, let's move on to another option, which is TRN ST7. Now, the TRN ST7 is one of those IEMs that's strange in this world. Like, it costs I think 30 or something like that. I bought it a long time ago. I saw it online, people recommended it. I was curious, I got it, I was surprised. It actually sounds really good. And this is one of those IEMs that is strange. It has 2 dynamic drivers, 5 BAs. Can you imagine at that price? And another thing is, this is one of those IEMs that doesn't sound the way it graphs. Like the graph will make you think like it's not that great or anything, but it actually sounds great, and I will tell you its weak points. For me personally, the weak point is two things: is the bass, sub bass specifically, and also the mid bass. When I compare it, A/B them to other IEMs in this table, I find that it's not to my preference. I will not say it's lacking, but I will say it's not to my preference. It could add a lot, could benefit from another bass boost that will make it sound great. Now, another thing is the technicalities of it are great, and it shines with the vocals, but the problem is that the mid-range is not smooth as butter as I would like it to be. It's not as balanced, so you'll find some frequencies are better than others. For example, the upper mid-range is not as smooth as I would like it to be, so male vocals have like an emphasis more than female vocals. Technicalities is great, actually, is really good. Nothing like out of the ordinary or anything like that. It still sounds great. Treble sounds great. It's just it lacks some refinement. It lacks some polishing. But still, it's an IM I would recommend. Yeah, I do. When you listen to it, you'll be surprised. But there are better options for me, and options that I recommend that sound great out of the box and have other things I need. Let's move on to the Tangzu Wan'er. Another great option. Another great option. This is a great option, but I have a few small things I want to say about it. Now, overall, this IM sounds great. And if you have it, I'm sure you know, it sounds great. The thing I have with it, it's not an issue really, but it's just a preference thing. I just like smidge more mid bass and sub bass. Like when you listen to IMs at this price range, you want to listen to something more fun as well. So that's just my opinion about it. And I would prefer a bit more upper mid range, just to add to that sense of female vocal extension, and how they sound like overall over this. Other than that, there's only one thing I noticed, and I'm not sure why. This is one of these things that you'll find on the graph, but in real life there's a lot of differences, at least for my ears. Is the mid-range sounds a bit flat, and it gets into that, it's not good with some genres of music, like for example K-pop, J-pop, rock and metal. It gets into, I wouldn't call it shouty, but I would say it's way energetic. Like it's too much. There's too much energy in the mid-range overall that makes me unable to raise the volume, even to moderate, to enjoy it completely the way I want to. When I'm listening to vocals, it sounds great. When I'm listening to some slow music, it sounds great. The moment the music turns up and it gets into the energetic kind of stuff, it gets a bit too much for me. Again, not shouty, but way too energetic. Other than that, there's also another aspect I like about it, is that it has a lot of clarity. I don't mean detail retrieval. That's another separate issue, but I mean clarity. This IM sounds clear. There's a sense of air in it. There's a sense of space. Not soundstage. There's like the instruments have a lot of air around them. You hear there's a space around things. Like things are separated from the rest in a good way. And this is something that I appreciate, and it sounds really good actually. But another thing is that the treble sounds too close to my ear. If you have this IM, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of these sounds sound too close to the ear, too exaggerated in a way. So just that's it. Is it good? Excellent. Do I recommend it? Yes. But for myself, honestly, I find other options are better, but still it's not a bad option. And I think just, small EQ, if you find it like me too energetic in the mix, like the slightest EQ, and it's going to be sounding great. That's it with the Tangzu Wan'er. Now moving on to the serious talk. Now we are starting to talk about my three top options. This is based on all of these, and this is what I listened to, and this is what I reached in my conclusion. Moondrop Chu 2, one of the best IMs you can get under 50. Yeah, definitely. That's my opinion. I have the normal cable and the DSP cable. I don't recommend the DSP cable. It doesn't sound good to me with DSP. I tried all the profiles. I tried custom profiles. There's not a lot of customization options available for you. You only have to lower frequencies. You cannot raise them. And the bass, anyways, just gets low volume when you use other profiles. And it's just not an experience I want to go through. Overall, Even the USB-C cable like stopped working like within 2 days when I got it. It had to be wiggled in and out of my phone in order to work, and it would disconnect every time I just move in my chair. But the good news is that unlike the Blessing 3 Dusk, for example, where most people, at least to my ears, at least I'm talking about myself, where you had to use the USB cable for the IEM to sound good and to sound worth the price. Here, that's not the option. Here, what's great about this is that the cable is just an option. You remove the cable, use any 2-pin cable, it sounds great out of the box. It sounds wonderful. You can use any budget dongle and you don't need anything else. It sounds great. Even the fit is great. It's made out of metal. You can use it with any amp or DAC or DAP or phone, whatever. It will sound great. And that's what makes me prefer it. It excels in sub-bass, mid-bass. Mid-range is very well done, tasteful, not shouty, not sharp. Treble is excellent. Really, this is one of those well-tuned IEMs that I have nothing to complain about. Like, it sounds good. The only thing I would say is maybe we need more technicalities. But again, look at the price and what's offered here, man. I think that's great. Moving on to the other two options here. Number 2 is going to be Celest Wyvern Pro. I think it's called Wyvern. And the other one, my number 1 option, is going to be the Wyvern. And I'm going to compare them. First, I will talk about the Wyvern Pro. Let me just get this. The Wyvern Pro, I think, is a gaming IM. It comes with this, you can see here, this is the microphone. And I use this, it sounds unreal. It sounds really good. If you have a dongle that supports that, or if you want to use your PC, you can do that. And the great thing is, you can see here, it attaches to the right side. The right side have this hole, and you just attach it here and move it. It's a very, very high quality mic, and I mean that, guys. One of the best 3.5 mics that you can get under that price. It's insane for the price. It's literally insane. The differences between this and the Wyvern, they both have very similar tuning. The difference is that the Wyvern Pro has less bass, but still a very good amount, and the mid-range sounds cleaner. Obviously, when you lower the bass, you're going to perceive more clarity in the mid-range, and that's what I get here. And it's really good, like really good. Like, I mean, really good mid-range. And everything else I'm going to talk about it here, I'm going to describe it with the Wyvern. Now, the Wyvern itself, oh my gosh, look how beautiful this is. Obviously, this is going to be subjective, but would you just look at that? I don't know, man. To me, this sounds insanely good. This sounds really good. I heard someone say that it looks like a dragon scale. I agree. It looks awesome. It looks like out of this world. Really beautiful IM. I think Kinera always does that. And let's look at what we get with the sound here. Now, it competes, in my opinion, with the Moondrop Chu too. I say that because, like, sonically, they sound very similar. And when you look at the graphs, you get that similarity. So how does it sound like? Everything I said about the Chu 2 is here. I have zero complaints about this IM. Why do I recommend it over the Chu 2? Just because it has more technical detail and better instrument separation than the Chu 2. That's it. Everything else, the bass sounds great. The sub bass, there's a good rumble. Mid bass is decent. Performance is great. When you listen to heavy bass heavy tracks, there is a lot of good low end that's clear and detailed. You can see there is almost no bass bleed into the mid-range, so the mid-range sounds very clean, very clear, doesn't get shouty to me. You can listen to electric guitars, you can listen to energetic genres of music, doesn't get shouty. And when you move on to the treble, it's very well done. The transition is smooth, you get a lot of air, a lot of detail, a lot of clarity, and yet it never sounds sibilant or sharp to me. That's just something I appreciate so much. I can't believe I'm talking about an IM that costs $20. I can't believe. Just see where I started with the Quarks and where we ended up today. Like beginners are, like, in this hobby, are really lucky people. Like, you get something like this, and it literally, like, I don't know, man. During my time, if you had to get a good budget IM, you had to get something like V-shaped and something like that. Look at where you are today. Perfectly balanced. Sounds very natural, very realistic. Obviously, I will tell you something else I discovered because I've been listening to this IM for a long time. I delayed this review because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If this IM had more technical detail, it would compete with 70 and more IEMs like Dolce, like Tanchjim for you, and other stuff like that. The difference with this and there, that IEMs, these IEMs, is that they have a lot more technical detail. Here, the tuning is top notch. A lot of bass, mid ranges. Man, male and female vocals are balanced, are clear, well extended. It's just like you get this. This is my top recommendation. You get this, you'll feel you got an IEM that costs way more. Like literally, that's my experience with it. And the cable, look at the cable. Even if you try to like jump it all over each other, it just never tangles, man. Never tangles. You can see I rub it all over itself. See, you can perfectly straight, man. What an excellent cable. Design is great. Looks are great. It comes with like a huge amount of ear tips. Let me see. Like even the Wyvern, even the Pro even comes with these like cables, like ear tips, like a lot of options. I can't just believe the price. I cannot believe the price. Anyway, this is my number one recommendation for an IEM under 50. Is it that different from the rest? Yeah, with the exception of the Chu 2. Yes, it's massively different. The only difference, as I said, between it and the Chu 2 is like instrument separation, detail retrieval, maybe better imaging because of the detail. I noticed that also here. The bass is slightly better quality, so that when I listen even like to sounds, boom, boom, I can pinpoint them very well. Still, the Chu 2 is very good, but I think this one is better because of the level of detail. You get more for your money. And that's it, folks. That is the video I wanted to do. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment. If you have any question, ask it in the comment section below. Please like this video if you find it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you find my content useful. And until then, see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.